Listen, I always felt like the end of the year list add a lot of pressure to the movies that are meant to define an entire year, and then a lot of good movies get left off. That's one of the main reasons I'm bringing back our monthly must-watch series on this channel. It's also why we have an updated page on the site, if you don't know about it. It's got all of our favorites that's getting updated weekly on the stuff that we've seen. I do also have a letterbox. I never updated even though I'm a patron, but even on our Intercut podcast, we extend the conversation happening in this video covering all of our favorites of the year thus far. But considering we got the opportunity to hit up a couple of festivals early, we also have a lot of unreleased movies we want to make sure are on your radar because August is about to be crazy. Let me explain. So right off the bat, I actually want to mention the August movies just in case you don't watch the rest of the video. I will cover the best in TV and movies that are out already, but August, again, is so stacked. Luce, without a doubt, is my favorite movie of the year thus far, and I caught it back at Sundance. Halfway lists are always interesting because you don't know if in 6 months those movies are going to withstand the test of time, but just like my previous year's favorites, it's lasted since January so far. This will have its own video just like Searching did last year where I hype it up in more detail, but for now, add it to the top of your list. And if you don't know me, I'm a stranger to you, go watch the trailer and let me know what you think. I'd usually say go in blank, but I think the cut does a good job of setting you up for one of the best movies of the year. My second favorite so far came from another film festival in Austin called South by Southwest, and that's the movie Peanut Butter Falcon. This movie comes out the following week in August, right after the masterpiece that is Luce. It's about this guy who runs away to become a wrestler and bumps into Shia LaBeouf looking to restart his career, and it's great. Shia also has another hit that came out at Sundance called Honey Boy. I don't really know when that movie comes out, but Peanut Butter Falcon makes you smile. It makes you cry, all at the same time, and I adore it. You don't even need to leave the house for this one. It's gonna be on Hulu. This one and Luce were the things I talked about the most at Sundance, and I actually wish they would have kept the original name, which was the Untitled Amazing Johnathan documentary, because that joke alone got me to go see it. It's this documentary within a documentary within a documentary that's about selling the documentary almost. It's also about death, meth, and a bunch of other pleasant things, and if you're one of those people who's a little iffy with documentaries, nah, trust me on this one. We're at that point where the Oscars should be nominating docs for Best Picture. Just in case, go watch this director's short, How to Lose Weight in 4 Easy Steps. It's on YouTube. I can guarantee for the most part that you're going to love it. And then get ready to watch one of the best documentaries and overall movies of 2019.
We can spy on my neighbor. She's a total nymphomaniac.
Hey, Stranger Things, go fuck yourself!
Listen, I don't know what it is with the comedies this year, but they're no joke, and I don't know how all of my favorites got scheduled to come out in August. The Art of Self-Defense I caught at South by, and if you're a fan of The Dead Don't Die, which I did enjoy, and the dryness that one had, this movie wants to let you know it's better. It's the funniest Jesse Eisenberg has ever been in my opinion, as he joins this martial arts class that may have other things going on, and I left this screening ready to buy new belts.
This is your belt. It is yours. It is sacred. There'll be a $15 charge to replace a lost belt.
We're going backwards.
Now, this was the only one at Sundance that almost made me cry. I don't want to say the ending is like Whiplash, but it gave me the same emotions that Whiplash. Jillian Bell kills it in this role because it's one thing to have self-referential humor, to say it, but when the punchline is physical, it hits even harder. I can't recommend this comedy enough, and I'd even argue it's one of the most motivating movies of the year. I don't know who pissed off the IMDb boys, but this is incredible. I know Us is a fan favorite in 2019, and Lupita does kill it in that role, but I'm not saying she's better in this one, because she did pull a twofer in Us, but she's funner in this one. Pretty much she's playing the most perfect kindergarten teacher you can think of, who's not only protecting her students from zombies during a field trip, she's also doing her best to make sure that the students don't even know there's an outbreak. I love this movie. I can't wait to talk about spoilers for it and how it's the director's love letter to his kid. It, at this point, I don't think has a release date, but I know it did get picked up by Neon and Hulu, so hopefully it comes out soon.
Don't get any closer!
Oh my god, there's Molly in there.
Okay, who's Molly? Because she's not with us.
Sweet Jesus.
Funniest of the year. I don't really know how else to pitch it other than it's Superbad Jr. And if you love Superbad and you think that's as funny as I think it is, then you should be buying your tickets before you even finish watching this video. If you're not a fan of Superbad and you don't like kids swearing, okay, this one isn't for you. Now, if comedies aren't your thing, then boy, do I have something on the complete opposite side of the spectrum that's also coming out in August. I'll have a whole video on this thing talking about how they had to check our IDs at the screening at Sundance, had therapists at hand at the screening at Sundance, and how a lady almost fell off the balcony as she rushed out the screening. 20 minutes in. When They See Us is a work of art. I love this show so much, and while my pretentious self wants to consider it a movie in 4 parts, I'll leave it as the best of TV so it can have the top spot. It tells a true story of 5 boys who were wrongly convicted of a heinous crime, and it wasn't until they became men, stripped of their adolescence, that they were set free. I really don't know if anything else is going to beat this series, and again, it's not just because it's a true story. The filmmaking itself, phenomenal. The way each episode ends, heart-pounding. The way she handles episode 4 alone, I think, is worth all of the Emmys that it got, and I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's Ava's best work. And as we continue to work on that LME, I'll just leave you with this little post right here to show you how Ava lays down the hammer every single chance she can. That to me has the best acting of the year. And it's not just because I have a crush on Linda, but of course that gives her why I saw it 3 times already. I'd argue though that Applegate's performance is this year's Toni Collette. I've never been more sure of anything in my life than when I looked at that Emmy nomination list. And I also love 2 other people who are on there. Fleabag is that show more of you should have told me about, and it has these 2 easy, breezy 6-episode seasons on Amazon right now that you can watch in one night, and I highly recommend it. Got a whole video on it. Russian Doll though, and let me add Dark here if I can. Russian Doll and Dark, insane. Lost vibes. Both of these are Netflix, and they're both these contained stories dealing with loops. So if you're ever worried like, oh, do I really want to invest in this and then it goes nowhere? Nah, they got 3 seasons for both that they're planning for it to be contained. Russian Doll already has 1 season out, and it's both hilarious and therapeutic, while Dark is... It's darker, but you're gonna need a map in order to keep up with everything that's going on, because if you've been waiting for that one show where you don't turn off your brain, where it's demanding that you pay attention, this is the one right here. Of course, there's a lot of other great shows that I can add to the list, and I do want to make a video touching up on all of those, but I'll just mention these last 2. One is Chernobyl, who the director of Chernobyl passed on Thrones to do it. And for good reason. Watch this bad boy with the best sound system you can get. And then there's Broad City, which my girlfriend and I, as we were traveling, were addicted to this show. And look, if Woody, Arya, and Abby wasn't enough to tell you 2019 is the year of goodbyes, I don't know what will. But I can't recommend this show enough on Comedy Central. It's on Hulu if you want to catch it. I can't wait to rewatch it. I can't wait to go back to New York. I just barely started watching Search Party. There have been a lot of really good movies this year, a lot that have gone under the radar, which I think could always make for another cool video. But the franchises this year, man, they're not playing around. Like, we didn't get Transformers 47, but the blockbusters have been getting better with each installment, in my opinion. I think they're utilizing their established characters and lore, and I love it. So let me break down my top 5 of the year. No real particular order, but starting with my favorite franchise, Toy Story 4. Did they make Buzz look like an idiot? Yeah, obviously they made this to really focus in on Woody, who I felt has always been the lead and kind of a surrogate for the filmmakers. In the 90s, their kids were dealing with having a new sibling, and so they showcased that rivalry with Woody and Buzz. Toy Story 2 is like their kids becoming preteens who think they don't need to be back home anymore because they know better. They're the hotshots. 3 was perfectly timed for those kids, myself, in the 90s, to be going to college right at Toy Story 3's release, as the filmmakers themselves were also saying goodbye to their kids. So seeing 4 as those animators now living through Woody, now that their Andys have left the coop, is a completely different perspective.
It's about being there for your kid.
Life's only worth living if you're being loved by a kid.
This is what it's all about. To make a child happy.
I also think it's the best looking movie of the year, be it, it's animation, but I think they did an incredible job with it. The only other 2 would be High Life and The Last Black Man in San Francisco, if you're looking for something that are just visually stunning. My 4th pick is actually a 3-way comedy tie. Talked to the producers, they said it was okay. I don't know how many people include stand-up in their best of the year, but for me, these 3 comedians I think should definitely be on your radar. Jeselnik probably comes with the biggest warning, so know that, but his delivery and how he plays with the setup is pure genius, even if the man makes way too many baby jokes.
Like, I live on the same street as 3 different families of Jehovah's Witnesses. And no matter how many times I tell them no, absolutely not, they still come by twice a week and say, Anthony, please stop throwing rocks at our houses.
Nate Bargatze I actually heard about because of Jeselnik, and I'll just let this one joke that he has sell himself.
I rewatched the movie Sixth Sense, and I'm not trying to do a Sixth Sense joke. This is a 20-year-old movie. I also have to spoil it, but it's 20 years old, so if you don't know by now, I don't know what to tell you, you know? And don't be like, we're gonna watch it tonight. We're gonna go to Blockbuster on the way home, and
Both of these guys have multiple specials on Netflix. You can catch them right now, but I think my favorite of the bunch, at least this year, is Ramy's special on HBO. Dude also has a series on Hulu that feels like his stand-up, but in narrative form. But what's interesting is how all of these new stand-ups are being directed. Spike Jonze just did Aziz's stand-up where one was way too close to him, and Aziz could have chosen better phrasing throughout. Bo Burnham directed Chris Rock's, and the beauty of Ramy's is that he's performing in a circle, so there are 2 cameras following him around in opposite ends. And what's crazy about it being live is that they need to know when the punchline is going to be, when to punch in on Ramy to make it feel like a stand-up is almost him venting, it's his own personal thoughts. And then they cut back out to see people questioning whether they should be laughing at that joke or not.
We had a sex talk. I say we because my sister and I had it at the same exact time. Like, my dad just wanted to get it out of the way, like, really quick, just sat us down. He was just like, girls, no boys, boys, no boys.
I don't know what A24 is hiding with this movie. I don't know why they're trying to like throw it under the radar. Maybe it's a marketing ploy because this is a movie with a lot of hidden meanings and codes, and it's supposed to be something that you seek out. We bit and we got addicted. Alina believes it's secretly a Spider-Man 3 movie. I believe I'm just going to go insane watching this over and over, but it was one of those movies that I ended up buying digitally because I didn't think there was going to be a Blu-ray. Then they released a Blu-ray. And now it's streaming on Amazon for free, so let me know what you think about it before I get into this LME that, as of now, is like 25 minutes long. A Sundance favorite that I can mention. The Farewell, I think, is so good that it's bound to get remade. I've been saying, I don't want it to be true, but I've lived in America. It's part Chinese, part English. I believe they sprinkle in some Japanese there. And we follow Awkwafina, who nobody believes can keep a family secret. And that family secret is that the grandma is dying overseas, but in order to not let her know, we're gonna arrange a fake wedding so that we can gather everyone one last time so that she can go in peace. It's a wild story. It's heart-wrenching and warming at the same time, but again, considering that the Western versus Eastern philosophy plays a crucial part in the movie, America, please do not remake this like you do everything else. And finally, Us, which I know is a fan favorite, but I'ma have to go with Midsommar. The fact that I love Hereditary so much, and I still think Hereditary has an edge on this one, just shows you how good Ari is to get another #1 on my list already. The man's, he's a craftsman, right? Obviously, I gave a sneak peek of my August picks, so the list is already going to be a little bit different, but I can definitely see this one as sticking on it till the end of the year. I mean, I read the script for this. The script. Twice. This man has me watching his movies in 5 different ways. And Florence Pugh, look, if y'all don't think she's the next Kate Winslet, then you're sleeping on her. You gotta press pause on Riverdale, alright? I love how people react to this movie in different ways. If you go see this with your girl or your boy or your significant other, that's gonna be one way. See it with your boys. Completely different perspective. See it on a girl's night out, a whole nother thing of groans going on there. This is one of the craziest movies of this year. I love it. I love how Hereditary is up in 4K on Amazon if you want to check it out. I love how one of the best horror directors alive right now is way funnier than you think because the next movie he's working on is a zany comedy. And I'm going to be there day one. Thank you guys for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'd mentioned the podcast. Go check them out. I have the Sundance and South by list in case you want to know more of the mentions that we have. But yo, look out for August. It's going to be some crazy releases. Watch Luce. If you can only remember one, remember Luce, all right? Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. You know what? I might even host a Luce screening.